Oh my god. It's happening again. We're finally fucking back. Oh shit. We're gonna get started here in a few minutes. This is gonna be a short one. This is more me getting back into the swing of things, because boy has it been a minute. It's been a minute. Last time I was on here, I think I was out here complaining about I was running Twitch on a MacBook Air, which was that was an experience. But we got the setup. We got the setup back. We got not back. We got it upgraded. We have an actual machine now. We can do this. We have better frames. We got more frames than just three. All right. Well, let's turn the music down so it's not too obnoxious. You want a vibe, not like deafening. I also have no idea how loud the music is in stream. But if the audio meters are anything to go off, then at least I am louder than the music, which is all I can hope for. I won't say excuse me for that. I apologize for nothing. All right. So here's the thing, right? Last time, well, not last time, but back when I was originally doing these, one of the big projects that I had going on was I was doing these scenic vistas of places around the island of Matanui because, for those of you who don't remember, your boy is a big old Bionicle fan, big old kid of the '90s, kid of the 2000s. So I had a bunch of Bionicle scenes. Let me pull some of those up actually. Refresh your memory. We got this one. We got, Kopaka standing majestically somewhere in Kauai. Look at this boy. Look at this boy. We got the telescope. This is, just give you an idea of what I'm talking about. We got Tahu, who, despite all of his flaws, I still made one for. So, I had done 5 of these, and for anyone else who knows their Bionicle lore, that means we're short one. And I never ever got around to doing Onua. Not because I dislike Onua. Onua's pretty cool. I just couldn't for the life of me figure out how the hell to do a good scene underground. And so I figured this is going to be a test stream, getting back into the swing of things. I'm just going to be spitballing here. I'm going to be shooting some ideas. So we're literally just going to be working with concept stuff right now. We're not worried about making a masterpiece in one go. This is just do I still have any sort of sauce for streaming and or making Bionicle fan art, which is the real ask. So Let's so I'm thinking we're doing Onuahi, right? Thinking like big cave, stalactites, something like that. Got more coming down over there. These are the sounds rocks make, even when they're standing still. This is a known fact. And I can never tell if this was something I remember being confused about last time I was streaming, like a long time ago. When I'm looking at the stream manager and it says one viewer, I assume that one viewer is myself. So if I am wrong, and there is in fact someone in stream watching, feel free to speak up. Feel free to say hi. I may be doodling, but I'm down to chat, down to talk. If you got feelings about Bionicle, or in fact a myriad other things, go for it. But I assume when it says one viewer, that's because that one viewer is me. And I can actually record these now. So I have to remember not to be too embarrassing, because I'm going to try and upload these as VODs. Taking it serious. Okay, so we can erase the Onuahi. Let's get an actual... I got bracelets that are clacking around making noise. Let's get an actual brush. There we go. This is what sort of what I'm imagining for Onuahi, right? Got to figure out. I don't want it. Okay, so this was the deal, is that I could think of things to do for the picture, but they all seemed very similar to other ones I had done. Like, obviously I can do a shot of a cave, and it's got like rays of light streaming in, and there's like dust and stuff, and then like, ooh, there's like water in there. You know, I could do that. It struck me as very similar to at least two of the other ones that I had done before, right? Because it's very similar to both Lewa and Tahu, where it's just kind of a scene, and then I just kind of place the Toa like real small, just kind of somewhere in the foreground or even middle ground. And I was like, I guess that works. I don't know if I love that, but if my goal, if I was getting paid and my boss was being like, hey Tim, hey, where is the Onuahi? Where is the Onuahi picture? We need an Onuahi picture yesterday. Where is it? I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure. I'll do the landscape. I'll put the toe in it real small. It'll be great. It'll be fine. Will it be earth shattering? You know, for For Onua, ironically, not really, but it'll be functional. I also don't know where I would even put Onua in this scene because obviously we got a cave, right? We got all this gloom, and which one did I have? I had was I using marker roll? Yeah, I kind of liked marker roll. I haven't really used it before, but I was like, oh, it's kind of neat. So you got all this gloom, right? Right. I don't know if this is really capturing what I want, but you know, it, I don't know that I didn't have a finish up. I didn't have a follow up to that sentence. But just got the something like that, and you got the little flecks like shining off the water, something like that, and exactly where you'd put Onua, like if I wanted it to be samey and look a lot like the others, I'd have him like standing over here and be clambering. He'd be sitting right there, leg up right there. With the gear. This is the other thing. I was like, I have a lot of them facing away from the camera or the viewer. And I don't know why, other than it makes for a very easy, like, epic vista. Because, I mean, yeah, and then you got his arm, right? And then the claws, right? You got Onua. There we go. We got the mole man himself sitting right there. And I was like, I could do that. That works. But it's a lot like the other. Hell, not even the other two. It's even Kopaka is facing the other way, but at least Kopaka is nice and big in the frame. Like he's clearly the focus of that picture, whereas Lewa's at least centered, so your eye is drawn to him. Tahu is just kind of placed there as like an afterthought, which is fitting because it's Tahu. Fuck that guy. But is it just? Is it right to disrespect Tahu that way? Yes. Is it good art composition? No, unfortunately. We could do better than that. I can do better than that. So the question really becomes, how do I, rather, I'm the one drawing it, unless you want to join along at home, joy painting something like all that. How do I showcase Onua as the focal point without having him feel like an afterthought in just sort of a generic cave scene? And one thought that I have here, if we start a new layer, one thought that I have, right, is if we get Onua, because I'm trying to draw on my knowledge of the lore or the universe, the world building, as it were. And so I'm remembering in like the Matanui online game, you have this whole section where you can't go through the caves unless you get a light stone. And I know they mine light stones, in Onuwahi, probably around Onukoro. But I'm thinking maybe that could be an interesting starting point for a scene. So if we get Onua in here, Like we got the, oh god, let's see. Can I remember how to draw the Picari? It's looking okay so far. We got, he's got like the weird, he's got like sad eyes. Because Onua is kind of based off of, he's very skull-like. His mask is very skull-like, more than the others, I think. I don't have a Picari, a Kanohi Picari on hand to reference, unfortunately. But it's something like this. So you get the little things on the side, which are kind of reminiscent of ribs. You get the mouth vent thing in the center. You get the sad like skeleton and orbital socket eyes. I think it comes back a bit more than that. And then you get the vents up on the forehead like that. And then there's these cut-ins right here, which are sort of evocative of the zygomatic arch, for those who know their anatomy, their bone anatomy. So something like that. Obviously, I'm the proportions are off, but you know, this is just to block in, right? And so then we'd have like his shoulders come out over here with the gears, right? We got the big gear in the back. And then he's got the, I can never remember, because to some people it matters. Like some of them have their shoulders come off sideways like this, where the ball joint can swing forward and back. And some of them have their shoulders sort of going more up and down, where the ball joint can only really swing side to side. I can never remember. I'm exposing myself as a fake fan here. But I don't remember if Onua's go up and down or left or right. But, you know, we can have, got sort of the torso block in here, right? And we got the elbows. And we got the cheese grater vents. I don't know if anyone's ever named them, but they're distinctive, sort of decorative feature. And then the claws are obviously very, very prominent. Yeah, Onua is the skeleton boy. Is that why he was so popular? I feel like he was very, very popular. Like, not my favorite, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against him, but like I was not drawn to Onua the same way some people I knew were. It's like I had a friend who swore up and down that Onua was the best Toa, and I didn't see it. Obviously, I'm gonna have my bias with the icy boy being the nicey boy, right? But you know, to each their own. I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum on who their favorite Toa is, but I I could never really understand Onua as a favorite. He's a skeleton, which is it gets him some cool points. I'll give you that. And there was definitely a crowd of people I could see that resonating with. I think it's the same people who would, you know, if Bionicle happened in elementary school, the people that liked Onua are probably the kids that ended up shopping at Hot Topic in middle and high school. Proper Hot Topic when it had like a dungeon gate as the entrance. Right. I mean, like, okay, so here's where I'm at, right? We got Onua, right? And he's getting blocked out. He's looking pretty nice. But he's also looking kind of plain. Like he's just standing there. And I don't know if that's I mean, obviously it's something we can change, something I can change, but you know, if it's something I know exactly what to do to change it. Like maybe like what if he's holding it? What if he's because that would actually be kind of interesting because we could have this sort of interesting switch up of the purpose of his sort of claw hands, going from obviously a very mole-like digging tool to, you know, being more objectively for holding something, which is a unique feature in the Bionicle universe. If you ignore the movies where the characters have actual fingers, I think Onua is one of the few ones to have fingers. Admittedly, his are not articulated. His are just a solid piece. But I'm trying to think who else in the Bionicle universe has fingers before the second gen, where they had the molded hand pieces. And the only one only other one I can think of, two I can think of, were the original Makuta Pterodax for the Mask of Light movie release, where he's got the silver Kanohi Avoki as his fingers, as his hands, which was an interesting sort of parts reuse. I kind of liked that. But other than him and Onua, the only other one I can think of, and he actually has articulated fingers, is Axon. And Axon is something else. I'll be honest, when they got to the story arcs involving like the Paraka and the Mari, I kind of fell off the story wagon. Story wagon. Is it? I stopped following the lore quite so closely on those ones. So I can never remember if Axon is a good guy or a bad guy. I feel like I remember Brutaka being a bad guy. So I want to say Axon is a good guy just because they like to have those sort of portioned out. But I feel like Axon might have been one of those like, oh, he's complex kind of characters, right? Because I'm not even entirely sure that Brutaka was actually a bad guy either. I think he might have been another one of those. He's complex characters. So here's what I'm thinking. So if Onua's got the... and it's like glowing, right? We can do something really cool. Maybe that's how we get the interest in this one. We don't necessarily do anything super dramatic with the pose, although we can definitely zhuzh that up. But the interest for this one might come more from the fun we can have with the lighting, because we can have this really kind of stark contrast between the light stone itself and the rest of the background. So if we have Onua, yeah, okay, I think I'm liking that. So then the question becomes, let's turn off snapping just so we have more freedom. How much of this do we want to mess with? So let's do freehand. Select the arm. Can put the arm off more like that. What else we can do? If we grab the sort of middle torso, we can rotate it a bit, give him a slightly more dynamic posture. Yeah. Okay. It's coming together now. And then grab that hand. Yeah, I'm gonna have to redraw that hand because I want to rotate it more towards the camera. Not that far. You know, like I want it to be more centered, I guess. But I can't forget to give him like these very, very dark sunken eyes. I did have a friend who Onua was his favorite for the pure and simple reason that he was the one that had green eyes. And my friend just thought that was the coolest thing ever. Because, I mean, of all of them, I think it is the most unique of the colors. Because Lewa had like the lime green eyes, but those are very similar to Gali's yellow eyes, and the yellow eyes got used so many places. Like anything that needed to have the like the brainstem piece, if they had it at all, it was going to be the yellow one. So obviously the yellow eyes aren't anything special. Tahu had red eyes, which is red on red, which is just kind of plain. Pohatu had orange eyes, which were kind of striking against the brown. Kopaka had the blue eyes, which was unsurprising. But Onua's green eye, like a dark green, which I'm pretty sure was they were probably selected for evoking like what's the word, night vision. So you know how when you look at night vision footage, a lot of it is green cast because it's reading infrared, and so they think I was about to bullshit an answer. I don't actually know why they're green. I have a assumption of the fact that it's infrared and it's supposed to be like an invert color. I don't know, or maybe green because I think most people have like the widest color gamut in green, or the most sensitivity to green as a color versus red or blue. I don't know. This is speculation. This is pulling stuff out of my ass. But anyway, Onua's green eyes were kind of interesting in that regard. So I guess, yeah, now that I think about it, as a mature adult fan of Bionicle, I guess I can understand the appeal of having a sort of unique. It's like how people went nuts over like Mace Windu having a purple lightsaber because it was new and different. No one else had a purple lightsaber, so obviously it was something special and cool. Onua had the green eyes, so obviously that's special and cool. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. Once again, this is all speculation and conjecture. Two of my favorite things. You'll learn this quickly. What am I doing? What am I doing with his legs? He's because of this whole cave environment. He's gonna have to be kind of crouched. I feel like that's just appropriate, but we'll see. And then we get the other ball joint for the leg. I'm losing track of where everything is. But we get the stem coming out there. Just to start us on the path of suggesting the rest of the leg. Blah. Remember, no excuses, no apologies for burping. Oh God, it's been forever since I've drawn a Bionicle leg. Do I remember all the details? I could go get one, but I'd have to get out of my chair, and I don't want it to make not a mess, a huge racket, because it's a $30 IKEA chair, so it's not gonna glide smoothly. It's gonna creak and bang as I move it across the floor. So let's and yeah, we're casual today. We're loosey goosey. So let's not worry about it. So, but I think there was like one of these here pistons. I think a piston from the leg up there. Let's see. I think the wrist there feels excessive. I think he's got too long of a wrist. It makes it feel like he's got two elbows. Yeah. So let's do. Let's put some of these little stalactites in there, because if you've ever been to an actual cave, stalactites don't have to be very large to be prominent. Like, there's just these little ones all over the place. But I definitely want to like layer up the background just so there's not like a definitive end to it. I want there to be a more gradual transition sort of into the background, because it's the darkness of a cave, right? You're only going to see small bits and pieces as it goes further back. You're not going to have a clear view of everything. And then all of this back here, that's just going to be shadowed, because it's going to be, covered by Onua's body. So I feel like we don't have to put so much detail there. All right. So then, okay, here comes the crazy part. So we're going to make the background color. We're going to make the background color black. Amazing. It's done. I call this Onua in the cave. Hooray, we did it. We finished a piece. Then we can come over here. And then we can just crank the brightness, and hey, look at that. Now we have it in white. Okay, so from here, I'm liking this layout more. I'm wondering if we should put. Is there any potential for more like little Easter eggs? I guess, sort of like how Kopaka has the telescope and Gali has like an usul crab. I guess they don't all have little Easter eggs. I mean, Liwa doesn't. Although Liwa's the first one I did, so I wasn't really thinking much when I did that one. I just kind of did it. But anyway. No, let's put the layer on top. So light stones are this pretty obnoxious yellow. Wow, that looks terrible on that. Okay, well, how do you look? You look all right. No. Light stones are this big, obnoxious yellow thing, right? And so, what if we turn the opacity on that down? It just looks like he's holding holding a blob of mustard. Turns out Onua, big mustard fan, just grabs handfuls of it. I don't know. Does he eat? Do they eat? Or would he just absorb the like life energy from it? Because I'm gonna be real, I remember at some point hearing the random piece of trivia that At least the Matoran, which I assume also extends to the Toa, don't eat food conventionally, but they can take things like fruits and berries and stuff, and they hold them in their hands and just sort of absorb the life out of them as sustainment, but they don't have like a digestive system. I don't know if this is true, but something in my brain is telling me this is something you heard. This is probably factual. So I don't know who to believe, me or my brain. It's an interesting problem to have, but we do what we can. So let's make this a bit more defined in its shape and not just a lump of mustard in Onua's hands. Sorry for sniffling. I don't know where these came from. I swear I was not sniffling just before I jumped on stream, so now I'm self-conscious about it. Let's sharpen it up. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, commence the jiggling, huh? Everybody likes to jiggle. Okay. So if that's our starting point, let's come back in here and let's just get a nice pencil. And it's going to be not white, but mostly white. And we're just going to start throwing in highlights, right? I probably should actually have gone and fetched a Kanohi Pikari just to reference, because now I feel like I've zeroed in on what I want to do, so probably ought to be more true to form here. But I remain in my seat, curious. You claim to be a Bionicle fan, and yet you're drawing without a reference. Curious. And get those. I think I seem to recall there being, beyond just the like notches, there was like a cut in as well. So I think there's like an additional lip in here. All the Kanohi Pikari enthusiasts, feel free to keep me informed. Like, yeah, I feel like there was something like that. It cuts in before those notches get placed. But because it's shiny, there's something like this. that, maybe. All right, and then obviously the fingers, they're going to be completely blitzed around the edges. Like, the interior of these fingers is going to be almost completely white. But in contrast, the back side of the fingers is probably going to be extremely dark. This is groundbreaking, I know. I keep making unintentional, like, digging puns. And I don't mean to, but I guess I'm not mad about it either. Something tells me Onua would he would sign off on some good puns. He strikes me as the jovial type. You know, if you've seen the movie, you know how he was characterized in Mask of Light. Oh, Pohatu. Mining has never been better. So, but I am liking this already. Like, it's coming together pretty well, I think. I don't know how much of the we'll worry about that later. He's got like the hole in like the palm of his hand. He's got like texturing like that, I think. If this is correct, I need validation for this because I'm currently drawing this entirely from memory. So if I'm nailing this, and I kind of feel like I might be, then obviously that means that ain't nobody like me but me, and I am deserving of celebration. Humble too. Those are too far apart. Not that much. I keep staring at my stats page, being like, maybe someday it'll show an increase in viewers. But seems I must wait, which I guess I can't be too shocked by. It's been over a year since I was last on, so oops. We got the sort of scoop shape going back. Gotta get the highlights for all of those, like that. The gears are more like there. right? And then it sort of it would follow the contour of the leg, so it would be like that. There'd be a little glint in there, a bit there, follow a bit more, coming in on the top. Then see, this is where not using a reference will get me in trouble, because if it does turn out that I'm getting the placement of the pistons wrong, somebody will let me know. That someone might be myself, but it's enough that there will be much consternation and gnashing of teeth, because I drew the Gen 1 Toa legs wrong. But I believe that there's like the big knee. There's always the big knee with the sort of inner diameter. And I feel like it's got, does it have one or two pistons coming off it? I think it's only got one. I think this one back here is bullshit. So I think the piston is up here. Because I think the cut-ins are back here. I think it's more like that. This could all be solved if I just got up and looked, but yeah, we're beyond that now. This is this is a point of honor. Can I recall the pseudo construction of a bionicle leg? So, to diagram it, I think there's the ball and then the stick, and then I think this part comes out like here. There's the notch, block, knee. I think there's a loop that goes like that. There's a piston there. There's a long block. And then there's another piston here and another one here, I think. And they form this sort of crescent shape down here. And then there's another stick and another ball. And then there's the two holes right there. And then this is just sort of a cut-in detail bit. I'm pretty sure that's what a bionicle leg is supposed to look like. And of course, you know, depending on which one, sometimes it would be like that. Sometimes it would be flipped around. I personally was always more a fan of the sort of Y shape, the forks pointing down, so flaring out around the ankle like bell bottoms. That was always my preference. But at least for Onua, I think it makes more sense. Aside from looking better, let's be real. But I am trying to think, were any of them actually flipped around the other way? I don't think they were. I don't know. Got no idea. But this is my reference now. Fucked all that up. Never mind that. Ignore it. So that would be smooth then. There would be a break there. This bit would cut in and it would be stuff like that. Fucked that up as well. I should have just erased the whole thing, but you know. I do what I want. And then but then of course now it doesn't look like it's being lit from any one direction. It just looks like I outlined it in white again. Oh yeah. Okay. So that blocks out, that blocks out. That gets a little less. That gets a little less. Okay. I think it'd be, yeah. Okay, that looks better. All right, and then we got the front of the shin coming in, blocking in like that. We get the first of the two holes right there. God, I have no idea how I'm going to finish this up. Obviously, not like finish as in, you know, wrap it up and get it done tonight. I have no illusions. That is not happening. But more like, how am I gonna bring it together? And that's the trickier question. Oh, I'm doing that thing again. I was just drawing the whole leg again, and I gotta remember, it's not just drawing the whole leg. Like, I can suggest the other half of it, especially if there's enough light bouncing around in whatever this cave is. Obviously, you are going to be able to see like the backs of some stuff, but it's not going to be as illuminated sharply as all of this stuff. No, I think that puts his face like too far back. Oh god, how does a bionicle head go? It's got that brow and kind of protrudes down like that. And I think the one eye is like that. That looks better. Yeah, that looks more fitting of the way his face would sit under the mask. Once again, big ol' specular on the claws. There are these nice big shiny smooth things in the middle of a cave. So like they're obviously going to be super lit up. A little bit on the backlight there, just to give them a bit more presence. And then there's sort of the circle bit, which would have the most highlight right in the middle, but you would still get some of it. There's another hole right there. Let's see. Then this. I have to redo the shoulder. So then this bit would. Like that. And then, God, come in like that a bit. Yeah, just for my own sake, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna duplicate this, just to give myself a sense of what's happening, because I feel like just that little bit helps. Be like, ah, yes. That's a source of light. We'll just put a Gaussian blur on it. Then there would be this sort of weird following the contour sort of highlight down here of this arm structure or the shoulder structure. Oh God, I'm drawing a blank. What does like the structure of the torso look like? We'll put a little bit of specular like on the back gear, just to give the illusion that like the light is sort of peering around the edge of his mask, so it's hitting this raised spot back here. There would be some down here as well, sort of hitting in the crook of his elbow. And then these would just sort of have like a little backlit thing. Here, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that, because that... Hello? Oh, there we go. Hello? Oh, shit. Oh, well. Move that on top, merged it down. Was drawn in the wrong layer. Anyway. What was I doing? Right, I was going to erase that because I don't need it right now, and it's a distraction. So, let's dull that back down so we can see what we're doing. And then we'll hang on. What if we turn that off? How does this read? I think it's not bad. I mean, let's see. What would be missing? It would definitely be hitting sort of around this area right here. Probably more of the shoulder. Just looking at the shape of the mask and the shadow that would cast. Because it's a long shape, so we're not gonna get sharp, clear shadows on this. But if we turn that layer back on, we can bring that back up just so we can see more. What? I think Onua is fine for right now. Let's switch it up. And I'm going to start trying to shade in some of these backgrounds. Do I want to keep using the pencil? Yeah, because we're just mocking up right now. We're not doing anything. I will increase the size, just give myself a bit more coverage. All right, so there's a cat trying to get into my room, get in my office. All right, so let's see. And I got to make sure we're sort of feathering in all the areas that it would be shining on. So this, you'd get more sort of front facing. These ones would be sort of more down the middle because we want our highlights to kind of point at the light. And these are just like the very, very highlights. Like we'll come in and add in some more diffuse shading later. But for these bits right here, we really want to just get those knocked out. So that way, I feel like that for me, it helps me visualize the space a bit better. So it helps me with shading further down the line. Because I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like I am much better at shading when I actually have like an idea of the shape an object is supposed to be. And when I'm doing backgrounds like this, I'm not always thinking completely through, oh, and then I want it to be this shape and then that shape. I'm just kind of throwing stalactites wherever. So sometimes I shoot myself in the foot a little bit by taking shortcuts that end up making more work for me down the line. But for now, I think we're okay. Let's just make sure these are sort of clearly connected. And then we got some further back ones. So we'll get a little bit softer on the lighting here. But some of these, because they're going to be like large features of the space, like if you've ever been to an actual cave, there's always like a variety of sizes of features of stalactites, stalagmites. For the bigger ones, you tend to see that they're like really really shiny. I find more so than the small ones. The smaller ones can be a bit grainier, but the large ones, because they've had water running over them for like hundreds or thousands of years, are like almost polished smooth. So the larger your stalagmite or stalactite, the sharper and brighter the specular highlights will be, because it's supposed to be shinier. So we'll just kind of feather some of that in. Excuse me. That wasn't even a burp, but I'm apologizing for that. After I've refused to apologize for legitimate burps. Confusing. I can hear the cats being upset. I'm probably not going to go too much longer, because again, this stream was mostly going to be me making sure that everything still worked. This wasn't meant to be like an intensive. I'm going to sit down and draw and do content, but getting back into the swing of things more than anything else. And I think I've done that. I think I've succeeded. I'm at the point of making sound effects now as I draw. I don't know if you can hear the neighbor's dog, but goddamn. Yap, yap, yap. Too much. Yeah, more like that. So of course, Onua is going to have, like, he's not going to consist entirely out of like specular highlights. He's going to have to be colored and shaded as much as he can be, being black and gray, but that'll still need to happen just to give him a bit more presence on screen or on the composition. And obviously this line work is extremely rough. Like this is like half a step past a primary. Like this is sort of proof of the idea more than anything else. And then I have no idea exactly what's going to be sort of back behind him. But probably not much. Because if you think about the lighting from here, he is blocking a lot of that. So we won't worry about that too much. But anyway, I think that's probably where I'll leave it for now. Yeah, this was just making sure I still knew how to operate this software and do a stream. So at the very minimum, I've confirmed I can do that. And I have done that. So I call that a success. I don't think I have anything else to say really. My viewers has gone up to 2, so if you're here, thank you for stopping by. I can't promise a reliable schedule just because I have life things, but now that I've at least got everything back up and running, I'm hoping I'll be able to just jump in randomly more often. We'll have sort of casual impromptu streams. Feel free to catch me then. But I got nothing else. So if you came by, much appreciated. Keep your eye out for the next one. I'll see you whenever that is.